Hi guys. I know I've been looking crazy this morning with my frizzy hair, but I'm about to leave the house headed to the pre-op appointment. Hubby's going with me, so he's already out in the truck waiting. Gonna get all my questions answered this morning. I should be able to take, a little sneak peek of the facility a little bit. So stay tuned.
All right, so if you look.
Hey guys, so I wanted to come back and go over how the pre-op appointment went because I know I had talked about I was going to be asking if I really needed the lift. I was having some drawbacks, focusing on the drawbacks to getting a lift rather. So I just wanted to go over everything that was explained to me at the pre-op appointment. So my husband went, and the appointment was mostly with the nurse, but I have a loop recorder in my chest because I've always had, kind of a minor heart issue over the years. And the loop recorder was put in back in, I want to say 2017. And that battery in that is only good for 2 years. And so it monitored heart activity for the 2 years, 18 months, whatever. And then the battery has been dead since. And so I had asked the nurse if she could ask him if he'd be able to remove that loop recorder out of my chest during the procedure. And so she did go and ask him, and he stepped in to talk to my husband and I about that. And of course he stayed for a little while and talked. My husband liked him a lot. He was really impressed with him. And so that was good. It was good that he got to meet him, beforehand and everything. Anyways, I've written some notes here. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing, just so that I remember everything to tell you. The lift was explained, and it's what I was afraid of. So I do have enough ptosis, or drooping, it's called. I do have enough drooping at this mammary fold here. If they do an implant, I will have some degree, if they do just an implant, I would have some degree of skin that hangs off of that implant, on the bottom, because of the way my breast tissue is displaced. So it made sense to me. My nipple doesn't need a lift per se with its position. My nipples are really okay, but the tissue hangs under the nipple in my case. And so they have to get rid of that tissue. And so they have to do a lift. He said that he would be more than happy to just do an implant. And if I decided to have a lift, I could come back at another time. But my husband and I decided we don't want to do that. We don't want to go back for another surgery that we don't just have to have. The doctor explained that you get like doing an implant without a lift. When you have a certain amount of drooping, you get a Snoopy appearance, like the profile of Snoopy, where you have the big nose and the nipple, displaced like that. That's not what I want. That's really not what I want. My husband was concerned about the size of the areolas. We don't really want mine to change. We don't want them bigger or that stretched out look. He does not do that. He does not like that look either. He said, if anything, they would be a little bit smaller. And that's okay. I mean, I'm not seeking to have them smaller at all. If they were just minimally, that is okay. So he explained it that way. Got on the surgical bra and decided to go with a low profile. It's 300 cc. And of course, it'll vary a little bit because one breast is different size than the other. So I had talked about the size of the areolas. We covered that. So they said when I wake up from surgery, I'll have gauze and I'll have an ACE wrap. And the ACE wrap will stay there for 2 days. That'll be my first follow-up appointment is 2 days later, and they'll take everything off. So we'll get to see everything. They'll take everything off, and then they will put me in a surgical bra at that point. And then of course, pain control, I'll have an upper spinal block for that pain. And so that leads me into meds. So for medications, it's Percocet for pain, Celebrex, which is just like ibuprofen, a stronger ibuprofen, but without the bleeding risks. And that's for pain and inflammation, swelling. A muscle relaxer, they like to give Flexeril. Flexeril turns me into a big meanie. So I asked them about tizanidine, and she was going to check with the doctor, but thought that that would be okay for the muscle relaxer. Then they give 3 nausea medications, Zofran, which will be under the tongue. And if Zofran doesn't work, I'll have Phenergan. But Phenergan has sedative effects to it. It can make you real sleepy. You know, it can knock you out even for a lot of people. So they said use that one kind of as a backup. And then the scopolamine, if I'm even pronouncing that right, the patch that goes behind the ear. And that will go on the night before surgery, and that'll stay on for, I think it's 2 days. It's 2 or 3 days. The Lovenox injections for 5 days, and that's to prevent blood clots. So that is a sub-Q injection that they said to alternate sites, so it can be given in the back of the arms or the outer thighs. And they went ahead and gave me arnica tabs for bruising and swelling pain. And it's a tiny, almost looks like a chapstick tube. And I'll show you when I'm showing you all of my stuff later on in another video. But the arnica tabs, they go under the tongue, and I have to start those 2 days before surgery and then just take them until that bottle runs out. Night before surgery, of course, nothing to eat or drink after midnight. I will shower with either Hibiclens, which I prefer. I'm a nurse, so I prefer that. But Dial soap is really just as good too, and I can use either. So I'll do the shower, that scopolamine, whatever. I know I'm not saying that right. The patch will go behind the ear. Then I will have to get a shower in the morning before surgery and using the Hibiclens or the Dial soap again. And then waking up from surgery, as far as, I covered the breast, but as far as the abdomen, they said I would be, of course, in gauze, bandages, in lipofoam, and the binder. I'll stay in that for 2 days. I won't shower for those 2 days. When I go in for that 2-day appointment, when they take everything off, they'll show me how to do dressing changes with the drain. The doctor says I should only have 1 drain, but I mean, if they get in there and there's more fluid or what have you, more bleeding, then I would have 2 drains. But they said they'll show me how to do all the dressing changes at that time, and I'll go back in the binder, and I'll stay in the binder for 2 weeks. Also, that 2nd day, I can come home and shower after that appointment. And then any incisions, they'll have Steri-Strips on them. And they said that I'll be able to wash the incisions with the Dial soap or the Hibiclens. Will continue all showers for 2 weeks after surgery with those soaps. When I get out of the shower, they want me to use a blow dryer on the cool setting and dry the Steri-Strips, because they have to be completely dry before you put your bandages over them, or that is set up for an infection. That is that for the dressing changes. I'll be in the binder for 2 weeks. At the end of that 2 weeks, I have another follow-up appointment, and I'll back up a little bit before that 2 weeks. If my drain is draining less than 30 cc's 2 days back to back, I can go in at any time and they'll pull the drain or drains. So that covers that. If not, and they're still there at the 2 week mark, they should be able to remove them at that point. And after that 2 week mark, I can come out of the binder, and I can, they said, use something more comfortable. So different bras at that point. And they said Spanx or some type of tummy control, but I'm a firm believer in the faja compression. So me personally, I want to go into, a stage 1 faja. I bought, which I'll show you when I'm going through all my things, but I bought the OG lymphatic abdominal binder that helps with lymphatic drainage, and it's called the OG abdominal binder, and I got from Dr. William Miami, who I've watched tons of on YouTube, and I think he's amazing. I'll use that at that 2 week mark under the faja, and they said that I would be fine, to use that, the faja, for compression. That's all for now. The next video will be going over all the things that I've bought. I'll check in the night before surgery, and we'll go over everything. Thank y'all for watching, and if you will like and subscribe to continue to follow my journey. The next video will be the night before surgery.